suppose I'll play a little bit of The Longing. I'm hoping to try to go to bed before 2 a.m. tonight. What you doing reading now, Elliot? Is it good? I ended up listening to it on a car ride. I couldn't read it. So I listened to it in a car ride. That's why I've been practicing all this reading, so that I can read books well again. I want to get a law degree, so I know I'm going to have to read a lot. Alright, how about we read, do our reading section first? That'd be okay? In fact, let us light a fire, so that time may pass a little more swiftly. I enjoyed the Iliad. I didn't enjoy that it was all centered around what it was centered around, but everything except for that fact was an enjoyable story. Tenth adventure, how Brunhild was received at Worms. Beyond the Rhine, King Gunther, with many a well-armed rank, and all his guests about him, rode toward the river's bank. You might see by the bridle led forward many a maid. Those who were to receive them were ready, all arrayed. Soon as the men of Island came to the shallops down, and eke the Nibelungers, lieges of Siegfried's crown. To the other shore they hastened, busy was ever hand, where them the friends of Gunther awaited on the strand. Now here be wealthy Uta, what a device was wrought. Down with her from the castle a virgin train she brought. That road where she was riding in that road where she was riding, in that procession bright, so many a maid acquainted became with many a knight. Kriemhild by the bridle, the Margrave Gary led, but only from the castle, then forward Siegfried sped, and did that gentle service, fair was the blushing maid, full well for that thereafter the warrior she repaid. O'ertwined the fearless champion, rode by Dame Uta's reign, knights and maids together followed a social train. At such a steady meeting, thou must confess I ween, so many lovely ladies were never together seen. Full many a famous champion, careering you might say, how there were sloth and idless. Ill there were sloth and idless, beneath fair Kriemhild's eye, e'en to the place of landing by knights of fair renown. Into the place of landing by knights of fair renown, there many a high-born lady from steed was lifted down. The king was now come over, and many a worthy guest. Ah, before the ladies, what spears were laid in rest! How many went in shivers at every hurtling close! Buckler clashed with buckler, how it din arose! Now might you see the ladies fast by the haven stand, with his guest King Gunther debarked upon the strand. In his hand soft leading the martial maiden fair, then each on each flashed radiance, rich robes and jewels rare. With that the smiling Kriemhild forth stepped a little space, and Brunhild and Hermione greeted with gentle grace. And Hermione, with that the smiling Kriemhild forth stepped a little space, and Brunhild and Hermione greeted with gentle grace. Each with snowy fingers back her headband drew, and either kissed the other lovingly and true. Then spoke in courteous manner Kriemhild the fair and free, and this our land, dear Brunhild, ever welcome be to me and to my mother, and all by us allowed, for faithful friends and liegemen. Then each to the other bowed. Next to greet Dame Brunhild, approached Dame Uda too. Oft she and oft her daughter their arms around her threw, and on her sweet mouth lavished many a loving kiss. Never was known a welcome so kind and frank as this. Soon as Brunhild's women were all come to the strand, many a courtly warrior took by her lily hand. A lady fair and gently her mincing steps upstayed. Now before Dame Brunhild stood many a noble maid. 'Twas long before the greeting had gone through all the list. On either part in plenty rosy mouths were kissed. Still the two fair princesses were standing side by side, a pair with love and rapture by longing warriors eyed. What erst had been but rumor was now made clear to sight, that naught had yet been witnessed so beautiful and bright as those two lovely damsels. 'Twas plain to every eye, none the slightest blemish in either form could spy. Whoever looked on women with but the sight for guide, such for her faultless beauty praised Gunther's stately bride. But those whose thoughts went deeper and dived into the mind maintained that gentle Kriemhild left Brunhild far behind. Now met the dames and damsels in friendly converse free. Fair robes and fairer beauties were there in store to thee. Many a silk pavilion and many a gorgeous tent, the plain before the city filled in its whole extent. King Gunther's kinsmen ceased not to press to that fair show, and now was begged each princess from the sun to go. Close by and with their attendants, where shade was overhead, by bold Burgundian warriors, thither were they led. Then clomb to horse the heroes, and scoured the sounding field. Many a joust was practiced with ordered spear and shield. Right well were proved the champions, and o'er the trampled plain, as though the land were burning, the dust curled up amain. So all before the ladies displayed their skill and their force. No doubt I that Sir Siegfried rode many a knightly course. Before the rich pavilion's end, ever as he sped, his 1,000 Nibelungers a stately squadron led. Then came the knight of Trony by the good king's command, and friendly wise he parted the jousters on the strand. For fear the dust now thickening, the ladies might molest. Him with ready reverence obeyed each gentle guest. Then spake the noble Gernot, let each now rest his steed, till the air be cooler, 'twill then be ours to lead. Then spake the noble Gernot, let each now rest his steed, till the air be cooler, 'twill then be ours to lead. Then lovely ladies homeward, even to the palace wide, so keep yourselves all ready, till it please the king to ride. Thus ended was the tourney, and now the warriors went to join the dames and damsels beneath each lofty tent, and there in gentle converse their grace and favor sought. So flew the hours in pastime, till of riding home they thought. Now as drew on the twilight, when cooler grew the air, and the sun was setting, they would not linger there, but uprose lords and ladies to seek the castle high. But uprose lords and ladies to seek the castle high. Many a fair dame was cherished by many a lovelit eye. So on the fair they waited, as from good knights is due, when hardy squires hot spurring before the noble's view. After the country's custom, rode for the prize of weed, as far as to the palace, where sprung the king from steed, not speed, steed. There too the proud queens parted, each taking thence her way. Dame Uta and her daughters with their handmaids gay, into a spacious chamber both together went. There might you hear on all sides the sound of merriment. In hall the seats were ordered, the king would instant hie, with all his guests to table. Beside him you might spy his lovely bride Queen Brunhild. Her royal crown she wore, there in King Gunther's country, so rich was none before. Seats were there placked unnumbered, the tables broad and good. Not placked, placed, I guess. Seats were there placed unnumbered, the tables broad and good, as is to us reported, full heaped with costly good. How little there was wanted that passes for the best. There with the king was seated, full many a noble guest. The chamberlains of Gunther and ewers of ruddy gold brought to the guests the water. Should you be ever told that at a prince's table service was better done, 'twere labor lost to say so, 'twould be believed by none. Then ere the lord of Rhineland touched the water bright, up to him as befitted when Siegfried the good knight, and brought to him remembrance the promise made him there. Ere yet afar in Island he looked on Brunhild fair. Said he, you must remember what swore to me your hand, that soon as Lady Brunhild were come into this land, to me you'd give your sister. Your oaths now where are they? On me throughout your journey much toil and travail lay. Well did you to remind me, the noble king replied, but what my hand has promised I ever will abide, and in this thing to serve you will do my best, my all. Then sent he to beg Kriemhild to come into the hall. Straight to the hall came Kriemhild, begirt with many a maid, when from the lofty staircase young Giselher thus said, send back your maidens, Kriemhild, this business is your own. On this the king our brother would speak with you alone. Then forward led was Kriemhild, as Gunther gave command. Where stood the king, and round him from many a prince's land, where noble knights unnumbered, at once all silence kept. All that same instant, Brunhild had just to table stepped. Just a moment. I need to look up a word. I need to find my phone. Alexa, please call my phone. Alexa.
end call. All right.
Kriemhild means bold maiden or warrior woman. Thence came it, she knew nothing of what was to be done. Then to his gathered kinsmen spoke Dankrat's royal son, help me to move my sister Siegfried for lord to take. Such match they all gave answer, with honor she may make. Then spoke the king to Kriemhild, sister, I ask of thee, from an oath to set me by thy kindness free. From an oath to set me by thy kindness free. Then spoke the king to Kriemhild, sister, I am of. Then spoke the king to Kriemhild, sister, I ask of thee, from an oath to set me by thy kindness free. I'm not getting that rhyme right. Then spoke the king to Kriemhild, sister, I ask of thee, from an oath to set me by thy kindness free. Then spoke the king to Kriemhild, sister, I ask of thee, from an oath to set me by thy kindness free. Thee to a knight I promised, if thou become his bride, thou'lt do the will of Gunther, and show thy love beside. Then spake the noble maiden, dearest brother of mine, it needed not to ask me, whatever command be thine, I'll willingly perform it. So now for thy sake, whom thou for husband givest me, fain I my lord will take. With love and eke with pleasure reddened Siegfried's hue. At once to Lady Kriemhild he pledged his service true. They bade them stand together in the courtly circle bright, and asked her if for husband she thought she took that lofty knight. In modest maiden fashion she blushed a little space, but such was Siegfried's fortune and his earnest grace, that not altogether could she deny her hand. Then her for wife acknowledged the noble king of Netherland. He thus to her affianced. I don't know what that word means. Engaged to be married, so affianced, fiancéed, whatever. I only just thought about the sound of the chewing. I apologize for it. I didn't think about it. I'll move the camera away next time I chew. Not camera, microphone. He thus to her affianced, and to him the maid, straight round the long-sought damsel in blushing grace arrayed, his arms with soft emotion the enamored warrior threw, and kissed the high-born princess before that glittering crew. On this up broke the circle, and to the feast they came. There high advanced Sir Siegfried, sat with his spouse Dame, right opposite to Gunther, with him many a vassal true, served at the board, and near him his Nibelungers drew. High at the feast sat Gunther, and Brunhild by his side. But woe was then the maiden when Kriemhild she espied, sitting by valiant Siegfried. She straight began to weep, and her bright visage darkened with shame and passion deep. Then spake the king to Rhineland, what ails you, lady mine, that your fair eyes are clouded, and dimmed their beamy shine? You rather should be merry, now that my liegemen true, my country and my castles are subject all to you. Good cause have I for weeping, returned the angry fair. My very heart is bleeding to see your sister there, beside your lowly vassal, sitting so content. Never shall I cease weeping for such disparagement. Then spake the noble Gunther, no more of this I pray. You shall be told the reason on some other day, wherefore I to Siegfried my sister gave for wife. May she with him ever lead a happy life. Quoth she, I sorrow ever, for her grace and beauty's sake. Had I a place to fly to, my flight I hence would take. For lie will I never, King Gunther by your side, ere I know why Kriemhild is given for Siegfried's bride. Thereto made answer Gunther, that I will tell you straight. Know I have given my sister to no unequal mate. A mighty king is Siegfried, and unto him belonged, as to their rightful sovereign, broad lands and castles strong. Whatever he could tell her, her gloomy mood she kept. Then from the board to tilting many a warrior stepped. The noise of their tourney made all the castle ring. His guests in their amusements wearied sore the king. Thought he 'twere softer lying in a marriage bed, than to beguile annoyance his longing heart he fed, with thought of future pleasure from love of such a bride, and every lady Brunhild tenderly he eyed. The guests were bid give over the tourney as we meet. The king with his fair lady would now to bed retreat. Before the hall's grand staircase, Kriemhild and Brunhild met. Bitterness or rancor on neither side was yet. Then came the attendant courtiers. There they lingered now for naught. Chamberlains well apparelled, the tapers to them brought. The followers then divided, of the rulers twain. Then might you see with Siegfried go forth a numerous train. And now the royal bridegrooms both to their chambers came, each thought with fond caresses to woo his gentle dame, that both might as befitted in love's soft bonds agree. The knight to noble Siegfried was sweet as sweet might be. There lay he so delighted by lovely Kriemhild's side, and found such modest graces in his virgin bride, that he came to love her more than his proper life. Well, she deserved his passion as a virtuous wife. What more ensued between them, it needs not here to say. Now you must hear the story how King Gunther lay. By the fair lady Brunhild, many a loving swain, by his loving helpmate with more content has lain. The crowd had now all vanished, that tended them before. Of the marriage chamber fast was made the door. He deemed he now was shortly to win his lovely mate, but for that happy moment he yet had long to wait. In robe of whitest linen, To the bed she passed. Then thought the noble Gunther, now all is mine at last, that I ever longed for before, in all my life, needs must be blessed a husband in such a charming wife. And now with trembling fingers gan he shroud the light, then went with glad expectance where lay his lady bright, and laid him down beside her, nor small the joy he knew, when his arms around her tenderly he threw. Fain would he have caressed her as gentle love aspires, had but the wayward maiden granted his desires. But there he sore was troubled, so fiercely stormed his mate. He looked for fond affection, and met with deadly hate. Sir knight, said she, it suits not. You'd better leave me free from all your present purpose. It must and shall not be. A maid still will I keep me. Think well the matter over, till I am told that story, this fretted Gunther sore. Then for her love he struggled, even till her robe he rent. With that up caught the maiden, accord with fell intent. About her waist she wore it, strong was the same and tough, and wrought her lord and master shame and wrong enough. The feet and hands of Gunther she tied together all, then to a nail she bore him, and hung him gainst the wall, and bade him not disturb her, nor breathe of love a breath. Sure from the doughy damsel he all but met his death. Humbly to beg began he, who master should have been. Untie me, I beseech you, right fair and noble queen. For what do you want? Why are you whining? What you need? You got water? You got food? Hmm? What's the matter? You annoyed with these other dogs in your bed? Hmm? Well, kick them out. Then for her love he struggled, until her robe he rent. With that up caught the maiden, accord with fell intent. About her waist she wore it, strong was the same and tough, and wrought her lord and master shame and wrong enough. The feet and hands of Gunther she tied together all. Then to a nail she bore him, and hung him gainst the wall, and bade him not disturb her, nor breath of love a breath. Sure from the doughy damsel he all but met his death. Humbly to beg began he, who master should have been. Untie me, I beseech you, right fair and noble queen. For your love will I never against your pleasure try, and never again will venture so close to you to lie. How he fared she recked not. How he fared she recked not, while soft herself she lay. So all night long he dangled, perforce till break of day, when through the chamber window the light began to peep. That night was Gunther's pleasure as little as his sleep. Now tell me, good Sir Gunther, began the froward fair, would you like your servants to find you hanging there, the bondsman of a woman, that were a royal view? The noble knight made answer, no credit 'twere to you. And in good sooth, he added, 'twere honor none to me. So of your kindness, lady, be pleased to set me free, since my love's so distasteful, fear neither harm nor hurt. Not so much as a finger of mine shall touch your skirt. With that the maid unbound him, free stood he, but half dead. Then all aghast and trembling back tottered to the bed, and there lay down so distant that her night dress fair he seldom touched, if ever, even that she well could spare. Now in came their attendants, by these in hand were borne, new gaudy robes in plenty, to suit the marriage morn. Downcast he stood and moody, amidst the smiling band, their mirth seemed out of season to the monarch of the land. After the good old custom that in that land was kept, King Gunther and Queen Brunhild forth from the chamber stepped, and hied them to the minster, where the mass was sung. Thither too came Sir Siegfried, then rose oppress the crowds among. Each circumstance of honor for monarch and his mate was there in order ready, both crown and robe of state. Then consecrated were they, and soon as that were over, with jeweled crowns conspicuous, stood all the goodly four. Bold squires with sword were girded, 600 at the least, in honor of the rulers, at that high marriage feast. Was naught but mirth and joyance, in Burgundy to hear, and swashing of the buckler, and clattering of the spear. There too at many a window sat many a laughing maid, to view and mimic terror, far flashing arms displayed. But still whatever was toward kept the sad king apart, with gloom upon his visage, and anguish at his heart. Twixt him and good Sir Siegfried, what difference of mood, well guessed what so him fretted, that noble knight and good. To the king he betook him, and asked in accents low, Last night how fared it with you? This be pleased to let me know. Then to his guest said Gunther, Shame, alas, and strife, my friend I home have brought me in my wayward wife. No sooner came I near her, what did she do but tie my feet and hands together, and hang me up on high. There like a ball I dangled all night till break of day. Before she would unbind me, how soft the while she lay. I breathed my plaint in friendship to thy secret ear. Then spake the noble Siegfried, It irks me what I hear. Yet you shall soon be master. Lay fear and sorrow by. This night I'll so contrive it, that close to you she'll lie, and nevermore your pleasure with froward freaks delay. At this from all his troubles waxed Gunther blithe and gay. Look at my wrists and fingers, swollen with her cursed bands. She squeezed them so, I felt me a baby in her hands. Under each nail forth started the blood beneath her grasp. As for my life, I thought it even then at the last gasp. Thereto replied Sir Siegfried, All will again come right. We two were most unequal in fortune yesternight. To me thy sister Kriemhild is dear as is my life. Now must Dame Brunhild also be made a loving wife. I will this night, he added, into your chamber creep, enveloped in my cloud cloak, in silence still and deep, that no man may have cunning to guess the trick I'll play. So send each to his lodging, your chamberlains away. The tapers I'll extinguish, that your pages bear, and this shall give you notice that I have entered there. Ready and glad to serve you, I'll force her to obey. This night her lord and master, or down my life will lay. Spare but to act the husband, and do whatever they will. With my loving helpmate I shall not take it ill, replied the angry monarch. Even shouldst thou take her life, I should not die of sorrow. Sooth, she's a fearful wife. Trust me in this, said Siegfried, my word I'll pledge to thee, that I'll never seek to woo her. Thy sister is to me, beyond all other women that ever met my view. The king with full affiance took Siegfried's words for true. The knights were busy tilting, with good success or ill. Straight 'twas bidden the tourney should all be hushed and still. For to the hall was coming either royal bride, then chamberlains advancing bade stand the crowd aside. The court was cleared of horses, the crowd no longer seen. Then forth a reverend bishop led either lofty queen, to where the kings were seated, and tables richly stored. Then many a man of worship followed to the board. There by his stately consort sat Gunther well apaid, musing upon the promise to him by Siegfried made. That single day to Gunther seemed 30 days at least. On the love of Brunhild he thought throughout the feast. Scarcely could wait the monarch till from the board they rose. Brunhild and lovely Kriemhild were summoned to repose, each in her several chamber. Ah, what a crowd was seen of young and active warriors before each stately queen. Siegfried was fondly seated by his gentle bride, her slender snowy fingers as lent they side by side. With his were softly toying in midst of her caress. Suddenly he vanished, how she could not guess. As with him she was playing, she missed him quite and clean. High to his wilder courtiers cried out the wilder queen. Where's the king? What portent is this? What semblance fine? Where's the king? What portent is this? What semblance fine? He was but now beside me, who snatched his hand from mine. So stopped in speechless wonder, he quick had slipped away to where with lights the attendants stood, ranged in meet array, and straight gan doubt the tapers held by the pages there. Full well that it was Siegfried was Gunther then aware. He knew what was to follow, so sent forth every one, maid and dame from the chamber. Then soon as this was done, with his own hand impatient, the king locked fast the door, and two strong bolts of iron shot for assurance more. Behind the flowing hangings, the lights he huddled all. Forthwith began a pastime as could not but befall. Betwixt the sinewy Siegfried and the maiden fair, at once with joy and sorrow stood Gunther trembling there. Adown Sir Siegfried laid him, close by the damsel bright. Said she, beware Sir Gunther, remember yesternight. Be pleased not to disturb me, wake not my wrath anew, or at my hands your folly you bitterly shall rue. He breathed no breath in answer, but still was as he could be. Well by the ear knew Gunther, although he could not see, that nothing passed between them, the jealous to displease. Never in couch or chamber dwelt there so little ease. Like Gunther he demeaned him, false mimic of the true. Around the unloving damsel his loveless arms he threw. Him from the bed with fury against the bench she flung. His head fell on a footstool so hard that loud it rung. Man, this is a strong woman. With all his might upstarted, again the undaunted man. He'd try his fortune better, a struggle stern began. When he essayed to quell her, long was his toil and sore. Such strife, I ween, will never be waged by woman more. As still he would not quit her, upsprung the frenzied fair. Sir knight, it ill becomes you, a lady's dress to tear. These are Burgundian matters, but dear it shall be paid. I'll bring you soon to smart for it, exclaimed the stormy maid. Her arms around the warrior she scrupled not to fling, and forthwith thought to bind him as though it were the king, that of the bed sole mistress, in quiet she might sleep. For her injured night dress took she vengeance deep. What booted then his manhood, well proved in many a fight, when that heroic maiden put forth her mastering might. Him by main force she lifted, in spite of all he tried, and 'gainst oppressed she jammed him, that stood the bed beside. I thought the panting champion, should I now lose my life, by this outrageous damsel, hereafter every wife will claim at home the mastery, and scorning meek accord and womanly submission, will lord it over her lord. The king with fear and trembling heard all that there befell. Shame gave fresh strength to Siegfried, furious he waxed and fell. He with redoubled puissance once more the maid opposed. Fearful was the struggle as he with Brunhild closed. Down still she strove to keep him, but wrath and natural might combined so wrought within him, that soon in her despite his feet the knight recovered. Sore was his toil, I trow, in the darkened chamber they hurled to and fro. Ill too at ease was Gunther between the struggling pair, full oft to shift he needed, as strove they here and there. A wonder 'twas so fiercely wrestled the mighty foes, that either scrapped uninjured from that tempestuous close. Sore rude his fate the monarch, beset with twofold care, still feared he most lest Siegfried should chance to perish there. For now the puissant damsel had all but taken his life. Had he but dared, he'd gladly have helped him in the strife. Long time endured the contest, nor ever seemed to slack, till 'gainst the bed with fury he dashed the maiden back. How fierce soever she struggled, faint and more faint she grew, then many a shrewd suspicion shot Gunther's bosom through. Still ever as he listened, he thought 'twas wondrous long. Just then the hands of Siegfried she squeezed so fierce and strong, that blood from the nails started, the warrior tingled sore, but soon he brought the damsel to give her frenzy o'er, and change her furious passions for love and duty meek. Whatever passed heard Gunther, though daring not to speak. Against the bed he drove her, that loud she shrieked for pain. Cruel was her torture from Siegfried's mastering main. Why are they fucking doing this? You cannot call these people heroes. I hope they die later. Like, I don't know what happens. I don't know what the story is. But I hope that these characters are both murdered. And I hope that they're dishonored in their loss. Like, not only do I want them lost, I would like it if they were dishonored in their loss. Because this is shit. This is rape. Then gasped she at her girdle, and strove to bind her foe, when down the warrior hurled her with such a forceful throw, that cracked each bone and sinew, that closed at once the strife. The fainting maid submitted to live King Gunther's wife. I don't like fucking King Gunther. Said she, right noble ruler, vouchsafe my life to spare. Whatever I've offended, my duty shall repair. I'll meet thy noble passion, my love with thine shall vie. That thou canst tame a woman, none better knows than I. Then up arose Sir Siegfried from where Dame Brunhild lay. Upon the floor he left her, and noiseless went his way. But first from her fine finger a golden ring he drew, so gently that the maiden nothing felt or knew. He took beside her girdle, with which her lord she tied. I know not if he did so from triumph and from pride. To his wife he gave it, a gift that mischief wrought. Meanwhile the maid and monarch love both together brought. They met with mutual passion as man and wife became. Her stormy rage was softened, she was no more the same. Weak she grew and feeble, as in his arms she lay. All her former puissance flitted straight away. And now was she no stronger than any dame beside. Fearless and feared her husband, caressed his duteous bride. Why act again the rebel? What boot could thus be won? So much with altered Brunhild King Gunther's love had done. How lovingly and fondly he by his lady lay, till the rosy morning led on the laughing day. Sir Siegfried thence departed, and back in silence came, where tenderly received him a fair and gentle dame. Her questions he evaded, though much to know she sought. Long time too kept he from her the gifts that he had brought, till crowned in his own country she reigned his royal bride. Of all he else could grant her, how little he denied. Far merrier in the morning than he before had been, appeared the good King Gunther, the change with joy was seen, by every faithful vassal and every foreign guest, whom he at home invited and feasted with the best. The sumptuous festal lasted, even to the 14th day, the while was heard unceasing the sound of mirth and play, that in the crowd of pleasures the wilder guests were lost. Unmatched was Gunther's splendor, and boundless was his cost. By the good king's order, to many a warrior bold, his kinsmen in his honor gave robes and ruddy gold, and steeds and store of silver, and so their wants supplied, that not a stranger was there, but parted satisfied. And well good King Siegfried, the knight of Netherland, and his 1,000 champions, their robes with liberal hand, and all they had brought thither, alike was pleased to give, fair seeds and costly trappings, like nobles they knew how to live. To those who thought to those whose thoughts were homeward, the hours seemed all too long, ere the rich gifts were lavished among the gladsome throng. Never before was party dismissed in merrier plight, so the high feast concluded, thence off rode many a knight. Alright, I'm going to take a break from reading. Let us see. Let's go walk over there. What's the deal? Oh, let me switch it. Sorry I didn't switch it. You could have read it with me. I wasn't paying attention to the whatever this thing is called. The OBS window. should have waited on that one. Now I know why there are more than one Maddox in the game. Almost done, huh? How are you today, Shade? Were you lonely today? We're gonna try to speed up this waiting time for you. I'm sorry I broke your Matic. Hopefully we can find another one. Beautiful music though. This light doesn't suit me right now. up, lady?